Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Carter takes Daphne to his loft after feeling deceived, just as Liam exhorts Hope to go look for him. Carter hears Hope tell Liam that she doesn't want to spend any more time apart at Brooke's house. She sobs, "I love you. Our future is together." As she sobs, they embrace and she says, "I will always love you." Carter sobs and grimaces in agony at the door. Daphne is sought after by Brooke. Daphne flashes to Carter in Forrester's design studio, cautioning him to guard his heart from Hope shattering it once more. When Brooke enters, she says she wants to discuss Hope and Carter with her. She cautions that nothing or anybody should stand in the way of their continued love for one another. Daphne smiles. Steffi becomes irate. Taylor assures Steffi at the Cliff House that they will handle Liam's approaching death as a family. Finn states that this is not unique to his wife. Liam has to be surrounded by people who care about him, Steffi emphasizes. He must inform his loved ones. Finn believes that he simply needs more time. What if he doesn't have time? Steffi asks. Steffi asks Taylor if she believes that telling Hope was the appropriate thing to do. Hope needs to know, but Taylor is aware of the need for solitude. Finn supports this as well. Steffi expresses gratitude to her mother for her help. Other than Hope, no one else can know, thus they must honor Liam's desires. Finn says that some of his patients have chosen to pass away by themselves. The families felt misled, wronged, and grieved. Even though Liam may be mistaken, he has Steffi and Hope to support him in facing the future. Finn BNB. Steffi is amazed that despite their many ups and downs, she and Liam were able to become friends and co-parent. It's unfair, Taylor argues, adding that Liam has two lovely girls and is well liked by many. Steffi, who is still depressed and furious, asks, who will grow up without their father? None of this is fair to Liam. He must discover love and grow old with them. Since he is dying, none of that will occur. Liam encourages forgiveness for Carter. Hope asks Liam if he wishes Steffi hadn't told her at Brooke's house. "No, I wish we had more time before she looked at me differently," he adds. Knowing that the time may not be here for long, Hope wants to make the most of it. People need to make the most of their time because they don't have as much of it as they believe, Liam reflects. He wants Hope to be content and have a companion as she ages. Someone who can provide her with everything that he was unable to. Repair your connection to Carter. You will be happy if you forgive him. Liam Hope BNB. Hope urges Liam to put himself first. He makes jokes that would make him crazy. His fear is lessened when he considers other people and their joy. He finds peace in it. Hope tells him that he is amazing. Liam is sorry for causing her such pain. Hope claims that it is behind us. Liam explains that facing his previous transgressions is a necessary step in achieving peace. They recall that life was easier when they first met. Hope claims they hurt each other, saying that Liam, he never could have imagined all the suffering he was about to put you through. That's true, Liam says. She stares at Carter the same way she used to look at him. He exhorts her to locate him and express her feelings to him. Hope is upset over Carter's betrayal. According to Liam, the specifics are irrelevant. If she still loves Carter, there's no use in the hatred and hate. She does. Liam cautions her to make the necessary repairs before it's too late. Carter is upset. Daphne tells Brooke at Forrester that she admires her for standing up for her daughter. Carter wants to talk to Daphne, so he barges in. She just told her Daphne that she thinks he's the one for Hope, according to Brooke. She leaves after telling him not to give up. Daphne is aware that there is a problem with Carter. What is it? How can my instincts be so long? What happened? Carter asks. He screams, "I hope it happened." He is unable to be there at this moment. Daphne is going to accompany him wherever he goes. You can't be by yourself. Daphne Carter BNB. Daphne and Carter reach his loft. He didn't talk much on the way there, she observes. Has anything happened to Hope? Carter claims that all of his relationships have ended badly. The common denominator is him. She contends that he is a decent man who hasn't yet discovered the right one. His identity is not defined by his mistakes. Carter is grateful for her concern for him. He only assumed Hope was concerned as well. He felt certain that there was hope for the future. You no longer feel that way? Daphne says. Carter reminisces about what he heard her say to Liam. Daphne detests witnessing his suffering. She feared Hope would let him down once more. She has a history of switching between men. Daphne wouldn't be shocked if she went back to her child's father, Liam. For Hope, Carter nearly blew up his whole life. He battled his best buddy for her, and she dismissed him as if he were inconsequential. Daphne, you were right. You were correct all along. Liam informs Hope at Brooke's house that Carter loves and values her, but that's not all. The only woman for him is you. Daphne assures Carter that she is there for him at his loft. Now and forever. After feeling betrayed by Hope, Carter gives in, and Brooke is powerless to stop Daphne from pursuing him. Steffi informed Taylor that Liam was dying, and Carter heard Hope stating that she preferred a future with Liam over him. Hope's confession crushes Carter. At Brooke's door, Carter hears Hope telling Liam that she wants to spend the rest of her life with him. They sob together as she assures Liam that she will always love him. Carter groans, closes his eyes, and is crushed. Liam isn't upset that Steffi told him his secret. Hope asks Liam if he wishes Steffi hadn't told her while bringing him some water. He doesn't. All he wants is to avoid seeing people's eyes filled with misery for the rest of his life. He continues by telling Hope that she deserves someone who can offer her all he wanted to but was unable to, and he emphasizes the importance of cherishing the time you have left. She should forgive Carter, he says. Happiness will follow if she does. She exhorts him to put himself first. That would make him crazy, he claims. He finds solace in thinking about other people. Hope finds him amazing. He claims that he wouldn't have harmed her in the way that he did if that were true. That's in the past, she says. He reminds her of their first encounter and needs to accept responsibility for his faults. He was repairing her Wi-Fi and had no idea how much pain he would bring her. He exhorts her once more to reconcile with Carter. Despite her hurt, she and he both adore each other. She doubts that it can be resolved. She was deceived by Carter on several levels. According to Liam, that is irrelevant. If she still loves the guy, there's no use in being angry. She acknowledges that she does. Before it's too late, Liam exhorts her to make amends. Carter is called off by Daphne by Brooke. When Brooke visits Daphne in the design office, he informs her that they must talk about Hope. According to Brooke, her daughter and Carter are still in love, and it would be ideal if no one interfered with their relationship. Hope is bad for Carter, according to Daphne. Carter interrupts and requests to talk to Daphne alone. As she leaves, Brooke reveals that she told the French woman that she believes they should be together and that he is the appropriate man for Hope. After she leaves, Carter informs Daphne that he can't be there at the moment since Hope happened. Daphne agrees to accompany him anyplace. Carter punishes himself. Daphne is brought to Carter's house. He admits to her that all of his relationships have failed and that he has made many mistakes. He respects her concern even though he doesn't understand why. He simply believed Hope was also concerned. Carter says he never lost hope that Hope would realize they were wrong to steal the business. Daphne detests witnessing his suffering. Hope would shatter his heart, she feared. Given her history of dating other men, she wouldn't be shocked if he returned to Liam. Carter claims that after risking everything for Hope, she simply ignored him as if he were unimportant. He assures her, "You were right all along." It's not necessary to break his heart, she argues. She puts her hand on his heart and declares that she will always be there for him. Steffi appreciates Finn's help. Steffi, her mother, and Finn are still thinking about the Liam problem at the Cliff home. If it weren't for Finn, Steffi claims she would be suffering a panic attack. Liam should be surrounded by people who care about him, but he doesn't want anyone to know. Finn is certain Liam requires additional time. Steffi doesn't think he has a lot of that. The two physicians are confident Liam will understand that it was the proper decision to tell Hope. They can't tell anybody else, Steffi insists. According to Finn, many people decide to pass away by themselves. Families feel defrauded and deceived as they depart. He continues by saying that Liam has two women who are extremely important to him and who will support him in the future. They discuss how unjust this is and that leaving a legacy is your only option. Steffi feels furious and depressed. This is not fair to Liam. In order to see his grandchildren, he must age. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Liam's scheme backfires in a devastating betrayal as Hope captures Carter with Daphne. As Liam Spencer has been working hard to make amends with his estranged wife, Hope Logan discovers a stunning sight on The Bold and the Beautiful, Carter Walton in a compromising position with newcomer Daphne. The drama on the show is escalating to explosive new heights. The timing couldn't be more dubious or worse. The question that fans have is, was this a setup? Was this betrayal planned by Liam to entice Hope into his embrace? Or is Hope sad and wondering if Carter is really moving on? The scene, Liam's anguished request for Hope's pardon. Liam has been trying to woo Hope back for weeks, claiming that Steffi Forrester is a thing of the past. In addition to reminding Hope of their family, he has been using Beth as emotional leverage and love-bombing her. However, Hope is still apprehensive and hurt by Liam's constant hesitancy. Liam might have gone too far in his desperate attempt to show his devotion by covertly pushing Carter to court Daphne, making sure Hope views him as a cheater rather than a serious loving partner. Hope enters Carter and Daphne's world, betraying them. Hope interrupts Carter in a private moment with Daphne, a mysterious newcomer to Los Angeles, just as she is beginning to think about giving him a genuine chance. Hope's face crumples in amazement, Carter stutters to explain, and Daphne appears both guilty and stubborn in this scene, which is juicy soap opera treasure. Everyone was wondering if this was an accident or if it was planned. If it's a setup, Liam might have tricked Carter into hanging out with Daphne since he knew Hope would soon discover. If it's true, Carter might have found solace elsewhere after becoming weary of waiting for Hope to pick him. Daphne's involvement is similarly dubious. Is she playing a pawn in someone else's game or is she acting on her own initiative? Liam's possible involvement, coincidence or mastermind? When it comes to love, Liam has always been cunning, whether it's destroying Hope's new relationships to keep her available or hurrying back to Steffi when she falters. It would be his most brutal act to have planned Carter and Daphne's meeting, but would Hope ever forgive him if she discovered it? Potential situations. Liam's covert manipulation, knowing that Hope would be devastated and turn back to him, he quietly urged Carter to move on. Daphne's hidden motives, she might be attempting to separate Hope and Carter by collaborating with Sheila, Quinn, or perhaps Steffi. Carter's weakness, perhaps he truly fell in love with Daphne after understanding that Hope would never be able to commit to him completely. Will Hope turn back to Liam after her heartbreak? Hope is on the verge of experiencing an unprecedented level of trust concerns. Seeing Carter with another woman could completely destroy her confidence in love after she had come to believe that he was different from Liam, a dependable, faithful man. The crucial query is, what is her next course of action? Option 1, make amends with Liam. She may automatically fall into Liam's arms if she feels that Carter has deceived her. Option 2, independence arc, she might completely abstain from males and concentrate on her daughter and job. Option 3, revenge mode, in order to reveal Liam's potential plot, Hope may join forces with Thomas or possibly Steffi. Carter's decline, from hero to enemy? Carter has always been the kind, patient nice man, but his image may suffer if he actually betrayed Hope. Will he ask for pardon, saying it was an error? Put forth much more effort and decide on Daphne, permanently abandoning Hope? Find out how Liam manipulates you and confront him in a dramatic way. The real role of Daphne, willful homer or innocent lover? If Daphne is merely a gullible newcomer caught up in the drama, she might come to regret her role after realizing what a mess she has entered. However, if she is employed by someone, Sheila, Quinn, Steffi, etc., her presence can start a larger conflict. What comes next? Forecasts regarding the fallout. Liam's deceptions revealed? Hope might never trust him again if she finds out that he was involved in this. Steffi's response: will Liam turn back to Steffi again if his plan doesn't work out? Thomas's wild card role: he may reintegrate into Hope's life by taking advantage of this disarray. The opinions of Brooke and Ridge: Brooke will stand up for Hope, while Ridge might support Liam or Carter. Concluding remarks: a traditional B&B love triangle, or quadrangle? Betrayal, manipulation, and emotional destruction are all hallmarks of a classic soap opera scandal. One thing is certain: Hope's life is going to get increasingly messy, regardless of whether Liam is the mastermind or merely an opportunist. Will this be the last blow that sends her back into Liam's erratic arms, or will she recover stronger? Watch The Bold and the Beautiful to find out how this dramatic event plays out. In what can only be called one of the season's most emotionally charged and narratively crucial episodes, The Bold and the Beautiful saw intense emotions and a test of loyalty. Carter, whose emotional world fell apart before our very eyes, and Steffi, who defied Liam's express wishes by speaking the truth that would shatter an already shattered dynamic, were at the center of the drama. What transpired was a potent moment of confrontation, realization, and heartache rather than merely a tale of love, loss, and desire. It all started when Steffi Forrester chose to defy Liam Spencer's final request while under tremendous emotional strain and motivated by a complicated mixture of dread, guilt, and worry. Steffi felt the weight of the secret pressing too heavily on her conscience, even though Liam had made it very evident that he wanted the heartbreaking truth about his condition to stay between a small group of people, primarily for Hope's emotional stability and to preserve some semblance of peace during his last days. She didn't make this choice hastily. Viewers could actually sense the strain in her interactions with Liam and Hope, the inner wrestling in her faces, and the underlying protectiveness she has always had for those she loves. But the dam finally broke when she encountered Carter, who had already started to spin out of control due to perplexity and feelings of insecurity at Hope's increasingly aloof demeanor. Carter and Steffi's relaxed talk swiftly descended into emotional turmoil. Steffi revealed the one thing Liam never wanted Carter, or anyone else, for that matter, to know: Liam is dying. Steffi is torn between defending Liam's decisions and defending her own behavior. Carter's initial response was one of astonishment and destruction, but it was too late when Steffi attempted to retract or lessen the hit. He had heard enough for Carter to put the pieces together. His emotional universe completely changed in that one instant. All of a sudden, every odd action, every tender look between Hope and Liam, every hushed exchange, all of them made awful, tragic sense. From Carter's vantage point, the earth had been moving for weeks. He had long suspected Hope Logan harbored unresolved love for Liam despite her devotion to him. However, he had been consciously disregarding the warning signs, blaming them on sentimentality or worry for her ex-boyfriend and co-parent. The fact that Liam's illness had rekindled long-standing ties and, worse, put Carter squarely in the path of a very personal and maybe irrevocable moment between Hope and Liam was something he could no longer ignore. It was always known that Hope had been emotionally vacillating, but it came as a huge shock to Carter to learn that she was doing so while aware of Liam's grave illness. Hope's seeming emotional withdrawal wasn't the only thing that caused Carter's heartache. The deception was another factor. Being the constant, emotionally accessible person in Hope's life, he had made an effort to be patient and empathetic, yet he felt caught off guard. In addition to Hope hiding Liam's illness from him, Steffi, whom he trusted, had now revealed this life-altering fact to him as though he were a bystander in someone else's tale. Even if it was measured, his rage started to stew. A highly emotional argument ensued, not just with Steffi but also with himself. A painful inventory of every minute Carter believed in the future he was creating with Hope was probably part of his internal monologue. It now felt like a gradual farewell, a holding pattern until she could go back to the man she never completely let go of, despite her assurances, her tender touches, and their developing bond. Even worse, Carter was aware that Hope would be devastated once Liam was really gone and that his position would either be written off as emotional cleanup or completely abandoned. For her part, Steffi had no intention of hurting Carter. Her instincts were motivated by worry, possibly unconsciously for Carter as much as for Liam and Hope. Perhaps she believed that Carter would be released from delusions of hope if she knew the truth. However, that does not justify the betrayal. She had been entrusted with a holy truth by Liam. Her revelation also brought attention to the dangerous unpredictability of raw emotion, even though it wasn't expressed with malice. 3 lives may have been irreversibly altered by her loose lips, as some fans might refer to them. This episode, however, made viewers re-evaluate Hope's own emotional path. Hope has been walking a tightrope between managing the complex relationship with Carter and paying tribute to Liam's last days with the love and care he deserves. She obviously doesn't want to harm Carter, and by withholding the facts from him, she probably believed she was protecting him. However, by doing this, she unwittingly alienated the man who has always supported her. Hope, who has always been portrayed as thoughtful and emotionally intelligent, finds herself in the middle of a crisis she didn't anticipate. The consequences of Steffi's confession could lead to fresh conflicts between Steffi and Liam in addition to shattering the already fragile bond between Hope and Carter. The trust between Liam and Steffi, which has been cultivated through years of shared parenting and close family ties, may be irreversibly harmed if and when Liam learns of Steffi's secret. This was not merely a verbal blunder, rather, it was a deliberate decision that disrupted Liam's meager control over his last days. Carter's path ahead is probably one of self-reflection and suffering. He has always been idealistic and romantic. However, he could now have to confront the possibility that his definition of love is insufficient. The harsh truth that love isn't always fair and that sometimes individuals make hurtful decisions even when they don't mean to is what crushed his heart, in addition to losing hope. Viewers were left with a tapestry of emotional consequences by the end of the show. Guilt-ridden, Steffi might have let a floodgate open that she can't shut. Hurt and reeling, Carter will probably pull back, if not physically, then at least emotionally. At the middle of it all, Hope must now choose who she is without Liam and what Carter means to her when grief no longer taints love. May 15th was more than merely the disclosure of secrets. It dealt with the repercussions of being emotionally honest, the crushing weight of the truth, and the frailty of interpersonal relationships when lives are at stake. This episode lays the groundwork for greater conflict, difficult decisions, and the unavoidable realization that love, in all its manifestations, has the power to both heal and destroy as the bold and the beautiful continues to deal with Liam's catastrophic prognosis. Carter Walton, the well-meaning, trustworthy, but much-ignored heartthrob of Forrester Creations, has suffered more love whiplash and emotional disillusionment than any other character on The Bold and the Beautiful. A new question subtly simmers beneath the surface while fans are still reeling from the revelations of Hope Logan's ambivalent loyalty and Liam Spencer's fatal diagnosis. Will Carter Walton pull a Liam? We mean following in the terrible footsteps of a guy characterized by love triangles, desperation, and the heartbreaking revelation that he was never quite the center of anyone's world. By that, we don't just mean doing a romantic U-turn or plunging headfirst into emotional instability. Could Carter be the next to suffer the same fate as Liam, not from disease, but from emotional ruin, if his story concludes with sacrifice and heartbreak? For much too long, Carter has been subordinated to guys who are more complex, violent, or sad. Being emotionally stable and incredibly compassionate does not ensure a happy ending in the world of soap operas. In actuality, it frequently reduces people like Carter to the role of consoling prize, backup, and supportive partner. Carter has a history of falling for women who are either inaccessible, emotionally conflicted, or about to leave him for someone else. This is shown in his terrible relationship with Quinn Fuller and his silent desire for unreachable love. Hope Logan, his most recent obsession, embodies all the characteristics of a Carter classic. She is lovely, kind, emotionally open, and still involved with Liam Spencer, a man who has always eclipsed him. The scenario has now become quite emotional due to Liam's passing. The weight of approaching loss has made Hope unreachable as she struggles to balance her developing relationship with Carter and respecting Liam's final requests. Additionally, Carter is once again in a situation that is all too familiar to him, on the outside of a love triangle that he didn't realize he was losing, despite his best efforts to be the strong, understanding spouse. Therefore, the inquiry is not simply, will Carter pull a Liam? The question is, what does Carter look like when he breaks? Because pulling a Liam is about identity as much as it is about love. Liam's relationships with Hope and Steffi have shaped who he is. He frequently wavers between the two, consumed by passion and remorse. Being selected has always been a part of his self-worth, even when his actions were detrimental to all parties. Despite appearing more secure, Carter has a similarly risky characteristic. He frequently compromises his own dignity to please the people he loves, defining his own worth in the process. And now, as he sees Hope emotionally fade away and be drawn back into Liam's orbit in what may be his last days, Carter is being forced to face the heartbreaking fact that he was just her now and never her forever. There is no denying the heartbreak. When Liam's indecisiveness left Hope emotionally spent, Carter was there to support her and provide her security, adoration, and encouragement. Perhaps naively, he thought that love would suffice this time. However, everything changed when Liam was diagnosed. Hope is suddenly reliving memories, offering comfort to a dying man, and making judgments based on remorse, nostalgia, and loss instead of dreaming of a future with Carter. Carter has always been afraid of being just a placeholder, so this knowledge comes as a huge shock. And now that Steffi's unintentional admission has revealed the emotional thread that still connects Hope and Liam, Carter's emotional wall might finally come loose. What transpires, then, when the emotionally stable man finally becomes agitated? Does Carter lose his temper? Withdraw? Or, like Liam, does he demonstrate his importance by making a big, perhaps disastrous gesture? Carter has a very real chance of spiraling, not in the sense of a typical soap opera villain, but rather of a catastrophic internal breakdown that leaves him emotionally empty and in need of a stabilizing force. Out of sadness rather than rage, he might confront Hope and ask the question he fears most: was I ever really the one? And what if Hope is unable to give him the response he desires because she is torn between being honest and showing sympathy? Additionally, there is the constant risk that Carter will re-entangle himself, this time with Daphne or another character. This has happened before. Carter, who has been wounded by love, seeks to swiftly fill the emotional gap by confusing connection with healing. However, he might be putting himself in a position for even greater destruction if he jumps headfirst into anything new in order to avoid facing the unpleasant reality about Hope's heart. Fans who have long supported Carter in his quest for lasting, genuine love may soon have to see a man fall apart once more under the pressure of rejection. The legacy of longing, rather than the romantic catastrophe, may be the most eerie resemblance to Liam. Liam has never been really satisfied and has spent his life vacillating between women, constantly wondering what if. Regardless of who he chooses to go on with, Carter might also be destined to carry the ghost of Hope's love with him. Carter might be compelled to pretend he's alright while dying within if he remains in Los Angeles, works with Hope, watches her grieve for Liam, and eventually tries to rebuild her life. What made Liam so cruelly relatable, and what might make Carter his emotional twin, was that subtle emotional deterioration, the kind that eats away at you gradually without screaming. But perhaps this marks a sea change for Carter. Perhaps he chooses to end the cycle rather than fall into confusion and despair like Liam did. Perhaps he makes his own decision in the end. What if Carter eventually understands that it is not honorable to love someone who is unable to love him as much as he does, rather, it is self-destructive? What if Carter's heartbreak forces him to re-evaluate his identity, desires, and the type of love he merits? Pulling a Liam in that situation might not imply making the same mistakes again, but rather learning from them. However, romantic reincarnation and cyclical heartbreak are what the bold and the beautiful feeds on. Carter can very easily find himself in a similar cycle if the authors decide to mimic Liam's storyline, pursuing the memory of what he believed he had, falling in love with women who aren't able to love him in the same way, and constantly coming in second in other people's stories. The true tragedy lies in that. Fans are most afraid that Carter will cease thinking he deserves anything different, in addition to the fact that he will be harmed once more. Ultimately, Carter's next step will determine if he pulls a Liam. Will he allow this heartbreak to define him and force him to make another emotional concession or rebound? Or will he at last remain motionless, grieve appropriately, and expect more from himself and from love? We'll find out in time. However, one thing is for sure, once more, Carter Walton is on the brink of feeling. And in the hopes that he won't jump, people everywhere are holding their breath.